live from the Capitol. This is Derailed Trains of Thoughts. Well, welcome everyone to episode 82 of Derailed Trains of Thoughts.
Hello.
And this is Timothy Deal.
This is Nick Hayden.
How are you today, Nick?
Very good. This is a nice, colorful town. I like it so far.
Well,
maybe here for 5 seconds, but
I don't know. I've seen some people. They've got some weird fashion sense around here.
I figured they got maybe when you were in Britain, for all I know. I mean, they got weird hats.
Yeah, blame it all on Europe. I don't know. It's nice. I mean, they seem to have good food.
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people over in the corner there who seem really upset. I mean, this is a nice party we're at, and I don't know what they seem pretty.
I'm sure appearances are completely accurate in this case. They're all nice and friendly.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, we talked last time about appearances being deceiving, Nick, but
yeah, but not here, I'm sure.
Oh, okay. Well,
okay.
If you say so. But anyway, this is episode 82. We are following up. Hopefully, this will be our second November episode.
Oh, yes.
We had a bit of a delay last time, but we're back.
Ta-dum.
So hopefully we have another wonderful story school for you. I was thinking earlier today, Nick.
Yes.
It might be good to remind our listeners and ourselves that Story School is not necessarily intended to be a lecture. This is really more of a discussion time.
That's true. Sometimes we don't even know what we're talking about until we get going at it.
In some ways. I mean, we have some experience as creators, even more experience as audience members. But this is just kind of a way for us to talk about things that interest us.
And hopefully come to some conclusions. We don't know all the answers, but we just want to discuss.
It's like the school is in like the university setting. Think of us as being in the same small group study,
yeah.
or maybe just chatting in the cafeteria or something.
Yeah, you're just sitting around with us, and for some reason you just never talk because you don't have a microphone.
Yes. So I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
But today we're following up kind of a train of thought that we've been having lately, which is unusual.
Following
for us.
a train?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know how it has managed to get derailed,
yeah.
but last time we talked about image, and we touched on how a person's appearance and what they wear, their outfit, can make a difference in, well, one, it's a way of expressing yourself. Yeah. And you were pointing out before we started talking how it's often a way of kind of communicating something about ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And because we did the big idea last episode. Just
image.
And we really want to focus on just how people look, both the clothing and then appearance, hair, everything. And
in case you're wondering, how does this relate to storytelling? Well, obviously, how a character looks is a big, it communicates a lot about a character without them saying anything.
And not even just obviously it's very vital in your visual medium. Mm-hmm. But even in print, there's a lot of care taken to what does this guy look like? You read Mice and Men, Lenny's appearance matters because he's a giant guy who has a little, acts like a child. That's you change his appearance, something changes about the book. Mm-hmm. Dickens, his characters are always very colorful in their appearances as well as in their talking and everything else about Dickens. But writers have often used the external to express the internal.
And same with costume designers.
And obviously then it goes into visuals as well, even more.
Yeah. I almost thought it's almost a shame we didn't get someone like Nick Smith, who I know does costume design for plays and stuff like that.
Would have been a good idea.
But, they have to research not only like a historical period of where it's being set at, but particularly for I think it's even bigger deal in some ways for movies, kind of what does this outfit say about who this person is? A character like Aragorn, he has to be, his ranger outfit has to be practical, but also pretty well worn because he's been around.
Well, in the era of superhero movies, everyone's always, well, I don't care that much, but everyone wants to see how did they translate the comic book into a costume that both looks cool and makes sense for real people.
Yeah, sometimes they do well. Sometimes you're like, it looks a little phony. You something about it's not quite believable. But other times they're able to translate it pretty well. Like the CW shows tend to do this pretty good. Like I think Supergirls, is probably one of the best in terms of like it looks similar to what you would see in a comic book page, but it also looks pretty cool in real life.
I'm going to back up here because comic books and, an anime, costume is iconic. I mean, that's how you define a character. Mm-hmm. They don't wear much else. I mean, especially anime. I mean, like, if it's Elric, he always has that red coat on.
Yeah.
I mean, just what happens.
Well, and I think that's common in animation in general, or animated shows.
Yeah.
It's just cheaper to have the characters always in the same outfit.
Well, and then it's the only way to think of them. It seems otherwise, just like, that's just weird. I mean, so they make jokes like, Inspector Gadget has a whole closet full of the gray trench coat and stuff like that. But, it creates a sense of who this guy is. And
sometimes they can play with that in other ways, like Avatar in the last season when they're Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah,
I guess because they did have a sequel series, but they're undercover of the Fire Nation and they have completely different outfits. And even it's interesting, even when they go back to kind of more back to their traditional style, because in the world of Last Airbender, apparently everyone in a given nation wears the same kind of color scheme. Yeah. So if you live in the Earth Nation and green's just not your color, you're out of luck. But even when later in the third season, when they're not incognito dressed as the Fire Nation, they're in kind of more their own outfits. They have kind of a different take on them. Like Katara wears her hair out, things like that. Just kind of differentiates. These characters have come a long way since
grown.
First season. Yeah, they've grown.
So you actually touched on two things we want to talk about here. And one, I guess, is the clothing. Obviously, the expression of the individual, but also expresses culture. And many times they'll say, oh, it's Earth Nation, it's Fire Nation, or in fantasy novels, everyone. I just finished rereading the third novel of Wheel of Time because
surprise.
I hadn't since literally middle school.
Oh,
this,
okay.
The third one.
Wow.
But certain nations, they all kind of stereotypical, like all one people in this nation do this thing, and everyone from this nation think they're weird for doing, But it's a way of defining, and then, and also for any sort of group, military, all the Full Metal Alchemists, all the alchemists, they all have the blue outfit.
The uniform.
Well,
anyone in the military, not just alchemists.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Except for Ed, because he's a protagonist.
Yeah, exactly. He wears red and everyone else wears blue.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting point. Contrast.
But, it's a good way of setting up your Vulcans wear something different than your Klingon. Molari is always in purple and regal stuff in Babylon 5. Join our other hijack soon. But it's also an expression of culture, which was very helpful in your more fantastical things. Say you came to a city and everyone's wearing strange hats and very colorful. Yeah. It tell you something about that city. What exactly, I don't know.
Or like say everyone who didn't live in this city where we're at right now, the capital. Say if everyone outside was just in drab clothes and something like that.
Yeah, then there's obviously a discrepancy here.
Yeah.
So, and it's a good way. It's shorthand. I mean, in many ways, clothing is shorthand for writers and for visual media. Mm-hmm. To communicate something very quickly. Well, a people about or even where you stand with other people. If everyone's dressed one way, you're different.
That's true.
It says something. Mm-hmm. Like in Babylon 5, Ivanova starts her hair super
tight,
and then they slowly, they'll have it down in certain scenes, and it's very striking because it's supposed to communicate a sort of
an attitude. And sometimes it's even just, it may not have to do with her personal life. It just may be the nature of the scene. Like in one scene, she's cracking jokes. She's just a funnier kind of person. Whereas in another scene, she's very, being very stern military type.
And I had read that J. Michael purposely said, look, we're going to slowly loosen her hair over the season as part of her character arc.
Nice.
So there's people do that a lot. We just recently saw Thor, Ragnarok. Mm-hmm. And they cut his hair, and they just want a new look and everything, partly. But partly, if he's losing everything, is
changing everything,
everything about him in his character's life. That's one thing that goes.
Mm-hmm. One reason why we even kind of got onto this topic is you found a video where it kind of talked about how the haircut is kind of a big deal.
It's like a trope even in films. Like when they make a big decision, you cut your hair.
Yeah,
which I'd never thought about. They just show all these scenes from things. I'm like, yeah, I guess it is a thing.
Yeah. And I've seen it in anime and games too. I remember there's a moment in Final Fantasy IX where Garnet has a big haircut and is like, and then I think it says it's like a sign of her resolve or something.
And I guess it makes sense. I would never thought of it because it's one of the few parts of yourself that you can cut off, you can drastically change without some sort of maiming. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, because sometimes people make a drastic change in a character by showing some body part lost or an eye gouged out or something like that.
yeah, I get an eye patch or
Yeah.
some scar.
Some scar. Yeah, some to say, I survived this. But hair is a renewable resource.
True enough. And I guess it's not always. I just thought of in Asian culture, sometimes losing hair though is more of a dishonoring sort of thing. Again, going back to Avatar, at end of or beginning of second season, Zuko and his uncle both cut off their top knots.
Oh,
because basically they've been excommunicated or banished from their whole country. So it's kind of a sign of shame or something.
And there's a lot of because we need to bring up as often as possible. Lost, when suddenly Jack has this beard, you're like, well, something's happened. A lot of times when people they're clean shaven and they have a beard, then you're like something's gone horribly wrong. They've let themselves go. Mm-hmm. Or if it's the opposite way, they have a beard and they shave, then like, oh, something's changing.
Yeah.
Like The Fugitive, the movie.
Well, and it's almost more of a practical sort of thing.
Well, that's true too.
He has to get rid of it in order to hopefully to help himself to be disguised.
Yeah, exactly.
Although my dad always pointed out that was sort of an inaccuracy because as a dentist, he has to wear a mask whenever he works, but he can't. You're not supposed to actually have facial hair that extends outside of your mask.
Oh,
so
they wouldn't be able to do that anyway.
Yeah, not normally.
Oh,
actually.
Interesting. Oh,
so
learn something new every day.
Yep, you do.
But I guess we've been touching a lot on a really helpful thing with appearance is that you can signify growth of the character through it by sometimes through clothing. We hijacked Once Upon a Time for a long time. Mm-hmm. But one thing they did, and we have good and bad things, but one thing they did do well is using wardrobe as a sign of different stages of a character.
That's true. For a very long time, I mean, they actually made a plot point about one of them with Emma. Mm-hmm. She wore that one red jacket for ages and ages, and she talked about it was sort of her armor.
It was they turned it into symbolism.
Yeah, for her, basically, very kind of, she was always trying to protect herself. And then I think at some point she felt she decided she was more vulnerable or something. She didn't wear the jacket as much, and she started wearing a lot more loose outfits. I guess you could say.
Well, then with all the flashbacks, it's a very easy way to say, "Oh, this is this version of gold or that version of gold."
Yeah, that's true. I mean, granted, even Rumpelstiltskin's outfits I'd noticed could vary wildly, and I don't know if there was always a rhyme or reason to it, but that's Rumpelstiltskin.
Well, then just classically, you have Gandalf the Grey.
Oh yes,
and then he shows up in white.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm now who Saruman was supposed to be. He took over Saruman's role as the White because Saruman failed at it. And it is interesting. The colors of the different wizards all kind of communicated, their different roles. Saruman was supposed to be the White because he was supposed to be the leader, whereas Gandalf the Grey kind of down in the in the trenches sort of thing. Radagast the Brown with nature, I guess.
Yeah.
What the blue wizards were supposed to be, who knows?
They were they used the land to cast magic. Oh, that's Final Fantasy.
Oh.
Wait, is that what the blues do? I think so. Anyways.
Are there blue mages?
I think there are in some of the older ones.
Possibly. I mean, the guys who actually are dressed in blue are called black mages.
Well, yeah. But anyways,
we're way off.
Blue magic. Anyways, there's some blue magic.
Oh yeah, you're right. There is some blue magic.
Or is that the ones who capture the magic from the enemies when they see them do it?
I thought that was just an 8 thing.
No, like Strago does from 6.
Oh, okay, yeah, you might be right. I never used Strago that much.
Okay. Well, derailed trades, everybody.
Yay!
Okay. Anyways, and it's interesting. In my writing classes at Taylor, Dr. Hensley was really big about color symbolism, which I think can be overdone somewhat. But
yeah, I've heard stories about this. Didn't you actually make a joke about it in one of your movies?
Oh yeah, I think I did. Okay. Yeah, but I mean, the whole idea that red is pain or passion. You see people. They use that still. Black is evil, white is good. I mean, that shows up in a lot of fantasy sort of stuff. I mean, it's almost you don't even think about it so much, so automatic.
Yeah.
But then things like yellow being more about revelation, I think that's was that what it was? Yellow is a weird one. But like M. Night plays with color, but that's more image than
in vernacular, yellow is often like kind of a fear sort of thing.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, in in the Green Lantern scope.
Oh, that's true.
The yellow lanterns are the fear spectrum. Actually,
Like the yellow wallpaper. You ever read that book?
no.
Or the short story?
No.
Yeah, the wallpaper like drives the lady crazy. Yeah.
But the lanterns are cool because Jeff Johns, a writer for Green Lantern for a while, came up with a thing called the emotional spectrum, where basically every color has its own sort of emotional power to it.
Okay.
Like the Green Lanterns, their lantern is green because that's color of willpower, supposedly.
Yeah.
It's not really an emotion, but the will thing is from old Green Lantern lore. But anyway, then yellow is fear, then blue is hope, red is anger, orange is greed. Indigo. What was indigo? Indigo is compassion. That one's kind of bizarre. So anyway, but that's so. Oh, and violets. That's or they call it sapphire, but that's again. Anyway, they use that for love. So, but it's kind of a cool way of, and then they get to everyone had their own lanterns, and it got to be a big spectrum and fight thing, and it was very perfect for a visual medium like comics.
Yeah. The other thing with appearance is that appearance can also be used, just like image in general, as either juxtaposition or deceitfully, where you dress them one way and they're actually something different. Or I mean, let's use Lenny from Mice and Men. He's this giant hulking guy, but he's basically a little kid.
Okay, so not so much in that case, not so much something different, but it's sort of a counterpoint.
A counterpoint, yeah, a juxtaposition.
Juxtaposition, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, same thing with Al from Full Metal.
That's true.
I mean, he's a big giant guy, and he's
a
the
little
most
kid,
and he's the most compassionate of the, yeah. And again, the big person and childlike thing is kind of a trope even by this point.
And sometimes you see that in the reverse, like the little guy who thinks he's big stuff.
Yeah,
a
little scrappy thing.
Yeah.
Like Scrappy Doo
Or Mr. Plankton.
Yeah,
is that his name? The guy from SpongeBob that wants to take over the world.
I don't think we've ever referenced SpongeBob in this podcast.
It's after our time, really. I've not watched much SpongeBob, honestly.
I haven't either.
It's all about Patty the Platypus. Well, that's more appearance than, I guess. It is appearance. It's not clothing per se.
But not clothing per se.
Yeah. The thing, though, you can relate costumes to that sort of idea, though. The Skeksis in Dark Crystal.
Oh, yeah.
At one point, one of the Skeksis, they're the villains in Dark Crystal, these really creepy vulture-like beings. At one point, one of them gets banished from the rest of the Skeksis. And as part of his banishment, they all strip him of all his clothes, basically down to his underwear. And after they basically tear all the robes off this thing, he's really kind of this shrivelly little creature instead of the fearsome look that the Skeksis have basically made for themselves by putting on all these clothes and, kind of posturing themselves. So it's a very unusual, interesting little take on costumes as of saying something.
Yeah, because people are trying to create a persona, a lot of the characters. And, sometimes the persona is not the same. And as far as juxtaposition, you got Indiana Jones, where you got the whip and the hat and the coat, and then you go to when he's a teacher and he has the glasses and the tweed coat, and it's...
Yeah, it's almost like an alter ego.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Superman and Clark Kent, kind of.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever juxtaposed. I like that word now. I don't know if I've ever juxtaposed those two like that before, but yeah, it is almost like two different personas.
Which makes, so you watch a movie, within 10 minutes, you have both those guys, and suddenly like, who is this guy? Because you've created the mystery almost as well, partly through the clothes, and then obviously through all the, snakes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Also, as a change, I've always thought it was a weird thing to do, but it's worked. The original Star Wars trilogy, Luke Skywalker shows up in Return of the Jedi in like black robes, and he's obviously very much in control. Then he's a very different person than he was in New Hope. But I've always wondered why black.
Well, it is interesting. You think about it too. Like if you think about Luke's progression of outfits from the movie, he starts out in the first movie wearing white.
Yeah.
And then the second movie, he's
like kind of gray.
Kind of gray, beige, kind of stuff. And then it keeps going dark. Yeah, I don't know that's a very interesting point. Is it because he's like...
Is it maturity? Is it from innocence to knowledge?
Yeah. It's interesting, though, in a movie that's all about light and dark, that he would make that choice.
Yeah.
Is it because the farther he goes, the more in danger he is of going to the dark side?
I don't know.
It's interesting, too. They think about the Jedi outfit and those, that perspective, because it's kind of a mix. I mean, granted, Anakin tended to have a much darker outfit than Obi-Wan did, but, you got the browns and you got the whites kind of in there. Maybe it's supposed to be a balance sort of thing. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. But I'll be curious to see. I wonder if they play with that at all, and we see Luke again
Because that's true.
in The Last Jedi.
But I mean, obviously they already played it. The outfits for Rey's always in white and Kylo's always in black.
yeah.
You don't even think about it, so
Yeah, that's just the way it is.
it's just the way it is. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that goes back to like in the old westerns. The white hat is the good cowboy, and the black hat is the bad cowboy.
And the red shirt will die.
Yes, if you're in Star Trek, yes, unless you happen to be Scotty
Exactly.
or Picard. Oh no, not Picard. Riker.
Yeah.
He wore red.
But I think Picard did sometime too.
Maybe he did.
I think it was command color by that.
Oh, at that point it was.
I think. Well, I don't know.
It's probably not. The rule probably doesn't apply to Next Generation anyway.
Not that many people die in Next Generation in general, do they?
That's probably yeah. That's a good point. Except for the security officer, whatever her name was.
Appearance also reminds me of it's just talking about juxtaposition, things like Wrinkle in Time. There's Aunt Beast, is that what she's called at the end?
Possibly.
Aunt Beast. Anyways, it's this ugly alien. Like frightening.
Right.
But that's not who she is. It's like she looks alien, but she's really this very kind. But I think our main character doesn't even see her at first, just hears her.
That sounds right.
And so science fiction, it works really well, that sort of. I think I mentioned on here before the Ray Bradbury story about spiders, like these giant spiders, but they're all very kind and poetic and everything. But the humans land on this planet, they just can't. They just can't.
Yeah.
They're giant spiders.
It also works well for fantasy too. I mean, Beauty and the Beast, the old hag that turned out to be a beautiful enchantress.
Yeah.
I always loved how they said that in the Disney movie.
It's a very fairy tale thing in general for the appearance not to be
Not
quite
all
what you mean.
Not all that glitters is gold,
Gold,
or
yeah.
whatever. However, Gandalf turns that on his head.
Yeah.
Talk about Aragorn.
Yeah. Again, there's so many different ways for a creator to express yourself through, is he rich or poor through his clothes? Is he
Is he
fit in or not fit in?
Is he well traveled, or is he more rich, so a person that changes his outfit all the time?
What do you want? Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how much actually clothes makes the man.
There you go.
Very much. And as viewers, we see it almost, we don't even think about it sometimes. It's affecting us sometimes subconsciously. But it's very purposefully put there because the external, like in real life, can say a lot about the internal, either what they're hiding or what they're trying to say.
Yeah. And sometimes all they're trying to say is, I needed something to throw on.
Yeah. That's what mine says more. Mine says, I don't care. All right.
Okay, well, that's our story school for today. And now we'll go on to soundtrack. For soundtrack today, I decided to go back to Mario. I know we did a Nintendo Mario type thing last time. Mario Paint doesn't really count.
There's
I
like
think.
10 million Mario games. It doesn't even matter.
It's true. And I'm going with Mario because, outfits are important to each Mario game.
Yes.
Each game has a new outfit with new kinds of powers that can give you. In Super Mario 3D World, they were the cat powers. It was a cat outfit, and you get to climb walls and things like that.
Now, has there ever been a Mario game where you can get Dr. Mario outfit and go around and throw pills? That'd be awesome.
It's actually possible. The new game that just came out a few weeks ago, I think you can actually buy different outfits to wear with Mario.
Oh, that's awesome.
And instead of power-ups, of course, you're just possessing people.
Goombas and bullets and
anything.
Dinosaurs,
practically, from what it sounds like. It looks pretty cool. But anyway, this is not from Super Mario Odyssey. Like I said, this is Super Mario 3D World, which I think that makes this our first remix on the podcast from the Wii U. Woohoo! Woohoo! This remix is called Caravan Bowser. It's another song from the Super Cartography Brothers album, which is a great album. And it is by Flex Style and Expert Novice. So I hope you enjoy. It's a fun song. hope you enjoyed that.
I did. I love that song.
It's very groovy.
I just want to make a little note here. During the song, I was realizing that Tim talked about we don't do lectures, we do discussion. And if we were lecturing, and I've taught like how appearance changes people in a story from my 8th graders before, we say, hey, you can do this and this and this. Mm-hmm. And we don't, that's not what we want to do with the podcast. We just want to kind of say, hey, how does it work? How do we feel like it? It's a little more chaotic maybe than a class, but it's a little more fun, we think.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes we do talk about, try to give some helpful tips from what we know.
Yeah.
We didn't really go into that this time because I'm not really a costume designer in any way. And I don't know, do you have any tips for how you've come up with what characters wear for your books?
No.
So it just what sound makes sense.
Exactly.
Based on what we were just talking about.
Yeah. I don't like the systematic in these discussions.
Usually.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, we're going to go into our next segment now, and that is... What If? Okay, so for What If today, Nick, you came up with this idea, so you should probably be the one to introduce it.
All right, so I thought we were talking about, hey, appearance can help encapsulate a person's character, etc. And so we thought we'd try our hand at it. We have this abstract noun generator that will give us abstract noun. Abstract nouns like things like love or pride or adventure or whatever. And then we'll try to design an outfit or a character that will try to encapsulate those things. I mean, comic books do this sometimes. They'll have like, I'm the goddess of death, or I'm the god of thunder. What does that look like?
Yeah,
you know?
Or kind of like what Inside Out did.
Inside Out does. What does joy look like? What does sadness look like?
Mm-hmm. So we'll see what we can do and how best we can describe this over the radio, over the podcast tubes. All right, so we're generating 2 random abstract nouns, and they are chaos and worry.
That's interesting. I want this character. Okay. Let's really focus on costume and look.
My first thought is like kind of rags, like he kind of basically
Is it a girl or a guy?
It could be either.
Well, I know, but which is going to be more about chaos and worry?
Probably a woman.
Okay.
Let's say.
You said that.
I'm not married, so I'm safe. Maybe this. Anyway.
Anyways, yes.
So
no, I was going to say that too.
So I'm thinking chaos, something basically just kind of scrapped together from a bunch of random parts.
Kind of like, it makes me think of, is it Lulu from Final Fantasy X? Her like ridiculous like belt dress thing.
That's almost put together a little.
Okay,
too
but
much.
I mean, just it's lots of pieces.
Yeah, lots of pieces. But
I see it in black, honestly.
Okay.
Or maybe,
well, I guess
maybe a variety of colors.
I guess if you're doing worry,
subdued.
I guess it depends. Yeah, depends on which part you're emphasizing. If you're emphasizing the chaos or the worry part of it.
Well, you could do both if you had. It would have to be lots of colors, but I wouldn't put like bright pastels.
No.
But like
I was thinking
darker colors.
Yeah, some darker, some grays. I think grays would be a good
dark green, some purple. I mean, just
nothing too vibrant or too bright.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just kind of things kind of jutting out all over the place. Lots of
obviously like bedhead sort of thing.
Yeah, bedhead.
Wisps
definitely.
everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Maybe even like some twigs and stuff in the hair.
Oh, well, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So
How do we get the
I was kind
worry?
of thinking more like rags as opposed to like nice outfits. But I don't know. Do you think it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of rags or like as if a nice outfit had been like all shredded to pieces.
Okay. Like sort of like Edward Scissorhands.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
But where do we get the worry? I mean, the chaos is easy in some ways.
Yeah. Well.
Of course, props are a thing too.
Yeah, well, I guess you could do like maybe she's got pencils that have been nibbled on all over the place. Maybe she like.
Well, she needs to have her fingernails all sort of beat up.
Maybe like there's lots of loose threads hanging out because she's constantly picking at things.
That. Yeah, I like the loose threads. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything to add, but
I think it's a good thing. I don't know if we want to spend too much time on each one.
That'd be a nice character. That could see that as an anime character right there.
Yeah. I think I was going with the regular. The chaos thing made me think of like the junk lady from Labyrinth.
Oh, yeah. I could see that too.
Yeah. I mean, she that character doesn't really have much of the worry, but it definitely has the chaos.
Yes.
So anyway, let's get another pair here. Okay, we got faithlessness and infatuation.
Okay. Red.
Red, yeah. This makes me think like seductress.
It really does, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I guess, and again, because it kind of will go with that lust thing. I mean, we probably are both thinking of a woman here, and like
in this case, I mean,
red dress sort of thing.
if we weren't guys, maybe it'd be different, but
yeah, probably lots of cleavage.
Just like a fancy gown.
Yeah. I suppose if you were to go the other direction, what if this actually was a guy? What if this is a faithless husband?
With infatuation. Okay.
Gaston. Okay, but he doesn't have a faithlessness thing. He was never close in the begin with. So I'm still kind of thinking nice outfit though. Kind of like a suit, like sleazy businessman sort of thing.
Yeah. Like it fits well, but it's just a little leisure suit Larry sort of.
Yeah. Like maybe super greased back hair.
I like the greased back hair. Yeah, like overdone just a tad.
Yeah. Not so much that it would gross out the average person, but the more discerning person who appreciates the modesty.
I wonder, for some reason I think we need like some sort of vice. Like either he needs to like have a flask or a cigar or a cigarette.
Maybe.
I don't know why. That might be more stereotype than help with the actual abstract nouns.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's hard to. What else do you do to appearance? But there's lots of actions you could do.
Do you think muscular guy or do you think kind of average? I mean, by average,
yeah.
Either super beefcake or like just kind of
the infatuation faithlessness does not think. In this case, I wouldn't think like super brawny.
Super, not super scrawny. No,
brawny.
Brawny. No, yeah.
I don't know, more normal, maybe more sleek, more Jimmy Stewart-ish.
Okay.
Tall, dark, handsome.
I would say more Cary Grant-ish than Jimmy Stewart.
Okay, I'll go with that. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. And then we can talk, I mean, part of appearance is age or,
I guess, you could take this a different direction. We're sort of treating the infatuation as like this is someone that's a woman might be infatuated with. Or...
I was thinking, when we turned to a guy, it turned that he'd be constantly faithless and infatuated.
Yeah.
He himself.
Well, yeah. I mean, there'd be a little bit of that too. I don't know. You could also take this a different direction where instead of being kind of the dark, handsome Cary Grant, you could take it in the direction of kind of a desperate sort of infatuation where it becomes more stalkerish.
That's true.
Where then it becomes kind of more your average kind of blue collar worker maybe that, has just kind of a nagging wife that's instead.
He's trying to escape and do something else.
Yeah.
Then you almost have to have like the unbuttoned shirt, just like the top button, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Some chest hair peeking out.
Yeah. It's a weird detail, but makes sense. You almost have to have some sort of either a cigarette or beer at that point in his hand. Like if you're just sketching him.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, there's two very different ways you could take these two traits, I feel like.
Yeah. And I think this is the second one is the better one for the words we have. The other one was almost too stereotypical.
Yeah, almost like something you'd see from like a romance novel cover.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I'm sure we could add more to it. But
yeah, I think we've
talked that
painted
one
a good picture. Yep. All right. Let's see. Next two words. My goodness. Okay, we got slavery and deceit. These are a little harder to pair together, I think.
Well, maybe not. Not if you're one of these fawning, you're trying to work up the ladder, but you're a slave sort of thing.
Okay. So like kind of a grand vizier sort of thing?
Kind of, or like it's not quite slavery, but sometimes, what's his name? I've only seen some of Downton Abbey. Have you watched any Downton Abbey?
Some.
Is it Barrows? Is that the guy who always kind of cheating and swindling?
Possibly.
He gets kicked out sometimes, but he's not a completely bad guy, but I don't know. That idea that almost that smarmy, is that the right word?
Smarmy. So kind of a little... slightly unshaven.
Yeah. It reminds. I had this vision. Who is that? Oh, it reminds me of the guy. You ever seen The City of Ember, the movie?
No.
Okay, never mind then. But yeah, like little unshaven, or I can't tell if it would be a little unshaven or whether he'd be like. Yeah, I think he'd be. Obviously, he's a slave, so his clothes aren't real great.
Mm-hmm. Second rate.
Yeah, second rate. He doesn't come clean shaven. His hair's kind of greasy or whatever. So he looks down and out. But simultaneously, like I feel like he's always like he has a forced smile.
Mm-hmm. Not a particularly handsome sort of person either. Kind of.
No, like he's trying to be handsome almost.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to. It's almost like worm tongue-ish.
Yeah. I've had this theory before that sometimes people's disposition winds up contorting their faces in a certain way. You get that with, actors get typecast with a look a lot of times. We even joke about that when we were watching Babylon 5 for the Weekly Hijack a few weeks ago. Guy was like, oh, you're clearly a villain. You just have all these sharp features. But sometimes I wonder if, sometimes that's just what you're born with. But sometimes you do see people that it's like your mother used to say, you keep making that face, you're going to get stuck with it. And sometimes I wonder if that's really the way people turn out.
I do think your personality over time does seem to affect your appearance.
Yeah.
Like literally, not just like sometimes creeps just look like creeps.
Yeah. Not always. You don't want to stereotype people all the time, but sometimes, I don't know. You've seen a person that their face just matches their countenance.
Yeah.
It's all odd. The time. Yeah. It's bizarre. But anyway, that's a side note.
We'll move on.
All right. Well, with that, we'll get two more words. Oh, here we go. We've got grief and joy. So we're combining two characters from Inside Out.
Yeah, so basically...
grief and joy.
It's basically a blue joy with a sweater. No, grief and joy, how... no.
Those are exact opposites.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if
do we want to try it or not? I don't even know what you do exactly.
I guess you could... Maybe this is someone like...
It's almost like... It's like you're dressed in mourning, but you're dressed to go to a ball simultaneously.
Well, if you're painting in big strokes, I guess you could look at it. If you think about it more as character things, maybe this is a survivor of something, like a Corey Ten Boom sort of person who's come out of.
There was grief, and now there's joy, sort of thing.
Possibly, yeah. There's kind of an inner joy and peace, but you've had deep scars of some sort.
So the face would have to be worn.
Yeah, very well worn.
Yeah,
I think so.
And maybe even bodily a little bent.
Possibly.
Or slow. Well, it can't do slow. That's not an appearance. But
yeah. But you could say, it's an older person probably who's seen a lot.
But bright eye, but
bright eye.
The eyes would be the thing.
Yeah. It's almost easier, we were talking earlier about costumes, but these two characteristics almost seems it'd be more of
it'd be a casting issue.
Yeah.
If it's a movie.
Yeah, largely. Yeah.
And then I feel like subdued clothes.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Nothing too, subdued, nothing too fancy or...
Yeah, but the joy would be it wouldn't be an external thing.
No, it'd be more how they presented themselves.
The expressions they use.
Yeah, they talked and, Interesting.
Okay. You do either way and that could be guy or girl pretty easily either way.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, what do we got next? All right, on a much lighter note, we've got customer service and sophistication.
Okay. Customer service, some sort of outfit.
It makes me think either a butler, kind of maid sort of thing, but at a fancy Macy's, not Macy's, but really fancy clothing store.
I was going to a different. I was going to taking some sort of very normal thing like Jiffy Lube and having the guy just be immaculate.
I like that better.
So he has the hat and the work clothes, but the giant smile and the super clean shaven and his clothes, even though he's changing oil all the time, are spotless.
I feel like
he needs a rag in his tucked in his pants, so he's always wiping his hands off. And
feel like he should also though have coattails for his somehow he has a jumpsuit with coattails and cufflinks and a bow tie.
That's awesome. Or you could just go butler, dude. That would work.
Or it's either that, or if you're not going to go quite that cartoony, maybe he's the picture perfect serviceman that you would see in 1950s kind of promotional stuff.
Or
which probably would have a bow tie, but
that's true. Or old school full service gas station.
Yeah, exactly.
Completely white, spotless outfit, little bow tie, little flat hat thing.
Yeah.
Very, very cheery and ruddy, rosy cheeked, whatever, you know.
Yeah. Yep. I could see that. Or
Like, how you doing?
Yeah.
I'll fill her up.
Or like you ever see like those pictures at Steak and Shake for like the outfits they would wear for like all the servers were.
Yeah.
I mean that they I think do they still have bow ties and stuff like that? You know, they're all in the white and black.
They might actually.
Yeah, some of them might. I don't know, but like
Yeah, I like that combination of like the more blue collar thing, but like really
dressed up.
Really dressed up.
Which, you know, it's funny. We look at a lot of like 40s and 50s stuff. People are always dressed up. You hardly ever saw anyone outside of a suit and tie.
Yep, they really care. Nowadays we're so casual.
Yeah, we're so casual.
It'd be nice if it swung back a little bit the other way.
A little bit. I mean, now that I actually work in an office place and, you know, I do weird collared shirts and sometimes I appreciate the casual a little bit more now that, you know, when I don't have to be
Well, when I went to high school, the dress code was slacks and collared shirts all the time. So that's, yeah.
Yeah. Of course, we went to a college that didn't have anything like that at all.
We do wear at college.
Yeah. Even when my parents were at school, of course, they went to a pretty conservative Christian school and they still had like all the girls were in skirts, I think, and collared shirts and all that stuff. Anyway, so what's our next two words here? We've got the two words we get to combine. It's always
It's a challenge.
It is a challenge.
Maybe we should write stories with these characters. Some of these.
Well, we got frailty, and elegance.
I like that. That's awesome. So this is but you need a wheelchair.
Yeah. It makes me think like an elderly maternal grandmother.
I could like again, man, we're referencing all kind of weird stuff. But Downton Abbey again.
Oh yeah.
What's
there
her
you go.
name? The Dowager, is that
Lady? Yeah, I know who you're talking
Grantham?
about.
Lee Grantham.
The one that you always see that meme of vulgarity is no substitute for wit. Whoever that is.
Yeah.
Or like Angela Lansbury.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how frail she is yet.
Well, I guess you don't need a wheelchair, but it would add to the frailty.
Yeah.
Now you could do it. Got elegance. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to go a different thing, you could have a younger person, like some princess sort of thing.
Okay, yeah.
But like some sort of disease or just something where she's very frail.
Yeah,
but she's still, you know, if you want to have, that would almost be frailty, elegance, and innocence, you know, if you wanted to throw it more that way.
Sort of like your childlike empress. The childlike empress from Neverending Story.
Yeah, kind of like that, yeah. Because there's a certain frailty about her. I mean...
There's not a lot she can do on her own, but she has kind of this elegance, this sort of mystical sense to her.
Again, there's almost, depends what your definition of elegance, but elegance sometimes has a sense of maturity to it.
True. You know, and we're talking again more about like intangible stuff. You know, we're not talking about the outfits.
Oh, that's true.
So we probably should get back to that.
That's true. Okay.
But I mean,
we got
obviously the wheelchair is part of that.
The wheelchair.
But the elegance makes me think like
gotta have fancy dress.
Yeah, fancy dress.
I mean, if it's a girl,
silk. Yeah, if it's a girl, and I don't know, these two it just makes me think
elegance. It just
seems more feminine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the fancy dress, beautiful silk, single color,
and relatively cheery expression. I feel like not cheery, but
pleasant.
Pleasant. That's a better word.
Yeah. So yeah,
though the Downton Abbey plays not actually all that.
So anyway, I think there's some good ideas there. All right, let's move on to honor and belief.
Honor and belief. Like belief makes me think you need to go like you need a cross necklace,
or like a maybe an army's chaplain.
Yeah. You do the whole. My first guess was like some chaplain outfit, but I'm like, if you don't want to, but that makes sense. The army chaplain would also have. The army, anything that has that sense of honor.
Yeah. And
inherently.
I wonder if they even have that little, like, what do they call the chaplains? They have that little, like, collar thing with the white in front of it. I don't know. What's that called?
I should know, but I don't.
But yeah, that thing.
That itself would do a lot of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because that's almost like a uniform in of itself.
Though honor, I feel like whoever you get, like, the appearance needs to be a very straight backed.
Yeah.
You know, because there's ways you carry yourself, appearance-wise, that communicate things. Mm-hmm. And I feel like clean-shaven, relatively short-cut hair. I know, and those will just... Again, you could always use a juxtaposition. He could act honorable but not look it, but we're doing the look at this point.
I guess you could also go, though, with something like a bishop or the pope for this.
Yeah.
Depending on how you look at the words.
Yeah.
Belief obviously, but then honor. Sometimes people give those church leaders of authority some honor.
Yeah.
Sometimes in ways us Protestants aren't that comfortable with, but
And then honor, I mean, is it that he's honorable or that he's worthy of honor? We can interpret it both ways.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just funny. Honor, for some reason, I think it's just to be built in with the American military persona and whatever. You just always feel like there's some sort of weapon there.
Oh, okay. Like a ceremonial sword of some sort?
Yeah. You wouldn't need to, but it's an interesting, and then my mind goes into fantastical versions too.
Sure. Oh, I can see that. Like,
because knighthood, is that one of those things that just feels like,
and it's an honorable position.
and
but
normally
there's also
believe in something.
Yeah, exactly.
You're defending something. You're a paladin.
a cause of some sort. Yeah. Aragorn getting crowned king.
Yeah, I feel like swords encapsulate some of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is weird, actually. I'm sure that's not true in every
culture. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know when that sort of became a thing. You unite someone with a sword, and it becomes kind of a symbol of being.
I suppose when the Arthurian idea became attached to chivalry, I think a lot of that, then the knighthood became synonymous with honor and gentlemanliness and stuff like that.
Well, and I imagine there's even some of that goes even farther back, though, because, the Bible calls the sword of the Spirit is the word of God.
Yeah.
So, even there you've got this very kind of noble sort of using of a sword.
And I wonder if that was revolutionary use of it at that point or not. Of course, you got samurais, and samurais, that's a whole different culture.
That was very important. Yeah, it was a very important thing there. And even, Old Testament, David, it's so easy to forget David, a man after God's own heart, who's also a warrior.
It doesn't like...
I'm sure he uses sword a lot. It seems like
fighter, I don't know whether culture just does it. This would be a whole story school, but but it does seem like warriors in general have a sense of honor in many cultures. Not all cultures, probably. Genghis Khan, I don't know, or if all the Mongols thought he was honorable or not.
I have no idea. Interesting. All right. Well,
anyways,
food for thoughts.
Yes.
All right. Next set: knowledge and unreality.
It's a giant book with eyes. Done.
Giant book with.
It's just a living book.
Oh man. Okay.
Like Salty. Do you ever know Salty back in the day?
The singing songbook?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah.
Okay. We did lots of plays in middle school or lower school about Salty.
Plays?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I guess you would have at St. John's, possibly.
Exactly. Anyways, so unreality and knowledge.
Doctor Who.
No, you feel like it has to be one of those like wizards that like is kind of incorporeal. Like he lives in a library, but he's like half ghost, or he's a long beard. Always carries a book around, maybe some sort of
but also kind of transparent.
Yeah, exactly. Glasses, I don't know.
Obi-Wan Kenobi then, basically?
Sure. He doesn't have a long beard.
He does have a beard, though.
He does have a beard. That's true.
Yeah. And he's incorporeal. Knowledge
and unreality. How else could you do that? Let's see if we go outside the stereotype for that. An alien?
This just shows I've been playing a lot of Kingdom Hearts. You could arguably say Xemnas, but that only makes sense if you know something about nobodies. And they have this whole thing about being non-existence. I'm not sure how non-existence exists. But
yeah, that's weird. Is Samaritan the supercomputer count as knowledge and unreality?
I'm not sure. What Samaritan, the supercomputer, is that a real thing?
No, Samaritan from Person of Interest.
From Person of Interest. Okay, I wasn't on the same page. How is that unreality though? Because it's kind of
he's remaking reality his own image. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch, and it's not really an appearance either.
A giant box is an appearance.
Samaritan is really more of just a computer screen, though, or a projector screen.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. So, I'm still going with book with eyes.
Okay. It's as good as anything else we've come up with for this pairing. Maybe we'll do. This will be the last pairing.
Okay.
Happiness and despair.
Why do we get these opposites?
I don't know. It's supposed to be.
We already did like joy and sorrow or something, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. So maybe
do another one, but make it 3. Give us 3 for our last one.
Okay, 3 for the last one. Okay. I feel like maybe happiness and despair. I don't like to perpetuate the evil clown stereotype, but maybe something like that.
That'd be like one of those sad clowns.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
All right. Anyway.
And horrible.
Yeah. Or maybe if it's, like the sad hobo.
Yeah, the sad hobo.
That kind of works.
Yeah.
That kind of works. That doesn't sad hobos don't have to be scary. Clowns don't have to be scary. I could go on a rant about that sometime. But anyway. Okay. So we're going 3 this time.
Our last one, right?
Yeah, probably. We've got democracy, deceit, and tiredness.
Democracy, deceit. Okay, well, democracy makes me think it's just got to be a normal Joe.
Okay.
Like jeans,
This
t-shirt.
combination made me think politician, personally.
Oh.
Democracy, deceit, tiredness.
Okay, I was thinking more of the voter.
But I could see that. I could see that too. Actually, didn't we already have a deceit one?
Yeah.
We did. Yeah. So maybe
Do a new one.
do a new one. Okay. We won't spend too much time on that one then. Okay. So these are all new. Okay. We've got favoritism, freedom, and charity.
Favoritism, freedom, and charity. I feel like it's like some sort of superhero / financial institution that only helps certain countries. Freedom?
Favoritism and charity.
Should we go super stereotyping for freedom? We'll just put like a giant 10-gallon hat on him.
I thought you were going to say like he's dressed in the colors of the American
I
flag
thought all
or
that
something.
too. Yeah.
This is a weird combo.
Favoritism?
I'm not sure about this one. I mean, if you want to go cowboy hat, you could kind of give the idea of like a favored rich child of some sort. But I don't know how charity comes into that. That almost seems that charity and favoritism kind of seems those are kind of at odds.
Yeah.
That's even harder to do than happiness and despair.
Yeah, we got we got the hobo.
Yeah.
Happy the hobo. Yeah. How do you show favoritism? Let's just start there. How do you physically, appearance-wise, show favoritism?
A coat of many colors.
Okay, rich clothing. Let's do rich clothing.
Rich clothing.
Someone favors this character. Mm-hmm. And, and it's...
Maybe it's go to the prop. Maybe he's got a really nice car.
Okay.
He's been spoiled by giving a really nice hot rod.
Okay.
And that also kind of goes with freedom too, because freedom to travel the road.
Okay. And deceitful.
No, charity.
Charity. And then charity. I almost feel like he should have like money to give away.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like he's been like giving all this stuff. He just like goes around throwing money. Well, again, that's not appearance. The prop is the money. I guess
it's a prop. Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of times when you have the car, you also have the guy with sunglasses. But I feel like he wouldn't have sunglasses.
Yeah. No. This is a guy that he's been given a lot, and so he's either for actual genuine purposes, maybe, or for just. So everyone's like, "Hey, look at me! I'm giving away all my money.
Yeah,
I'm so awesome."
He's like the sort of guy that has like a suit coat with a T-shirt under it.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, I'm rich, but I'm just like you."
I'm just like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I can't help it, guys. I just happen to be favored.
I can see that. I can totally see that.
I'm trying to think what else you would do with him. Like you wouldn't have sort of slick hair. You'd be kind of an average-looking guy. Mm-hmm. Maybe even a little awkward-looking.
Maybe curly hair.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Physically, he would not look like the sort of spoiled rich guy. Mm-hmm. Let's say we're talking Stranger Things. It wouldn't be the boy. What's the boyfriend with the crazy,
Oh, Steve?
Yeah, it's not Steve. It'd be more like Mike's face. Is it Mike?
Mike's face? You mean, yeah. Okay, you threw me because you're talking about hair. And then he's like, it's not like Steve's hair. It's like Mike's face. I'm like, wait, what?
Because he's a very regular looking kid.
Yes.
Someone like that.
Okay.
And then relatively young. Mm-hmm. You're early 20s.
Yeah. Yep.
T-shirt, suit coat, jeans. I don't know.
Yeah. Designer. Probably it's
yeah.
He's dressed casual, but it's all designer clothing.
Yeah.
Old Navy, not JCPenney.
Yeah.
Old Navy's probably that designer clothing. That just shows you what I know about fashion. He buys everything from Macy's.
Exactly. Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, that's what we got.
All right, that's all we got. So that was a lot of fun. I think that helped put close to the skeleton of what we were talking about in the beginning.
Clever. But not as clever as a book with eyes.
That just sounds creepy. Unless you're talking about Salty. I love Salty. But
I wonder how many of our audience members know who Salty is.
Oh, that's a good question.
We might have to use the Facebook page and ask people.
It's set the other day. I've got this group chat thing I have with my sisters, and the other day it was lunchtime, and for some reason I was thinking of like the end credits for Eureka's Castle.
Oh yeah,
because they always had we're about to have lunch right before because it was they showed it at 11. It was a great idea. But so I tweeted that video. Then I realized, I think Joanna's the only one who would remember this, actually. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know how old our audience is, but some of them, I'm sure Greg probably remembers Salty.
We need to remember this, Tim. On a Facebook page, we need to get a randomized nouns and we'll throw it out to our audience to see if they can.
Yeah, see what they can come up with. Yeah. I like that idea.
Maybe something better than we did.
Yes. So there's your homework, folks.
We'll post it.
Yes, be on the lookout on our Facebook page.
All right. Anyways,
speaking of our Facebook page, you can feel free to give us a like there, share the love, maybe leave us a review on iTunes or
at least
Stitcher.
Star us. At least give us a star rating.
Yes, that helps people find us.
Yeah.
Any other way they can contact us?
You can go to derailedtrains.blogspot.com, derailedtrainsofthought.blogspot.com for our original website. Mm-hmm. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, etc.
And we need to head out. I feel like there's some big events they're about to do.
I don't know. They're very excited.
Everyone's gathered over. They're going to do. Sounds like it's going to be a TV interview thing, but everyone's treating it like this is super important.
No, I don't know. Maybe we should go and see what's going on.
I guess so. But before we do that, you have a soundtrack to introduce.
I do have a soundtrack. I just had to go from a song from Animal Crossing. I've not played much Animal Crossing, but collecting outfits is one thing you can do. And this is a remix by Posu Yan called Purdy Old Days. It's energetic and a little crazy, and I guess relatively Nickian. So
yes, it is your style of quirkiness, I think, in some of your remixes.
So, it sounds good.
Well, I think let's see if it sounds.
It will sound good.
It will sound good. All right. Thanks for listening to Derailed Trains of Thoughts. This is Tim.
This is Nick.
Bye-bye.
Well. Samba time, baby. Bossa and the samba are so close. Most of us don't know the difference. But what I'm going to do today is the samba with the